Go to the full screen mode. Okay, so state space model we know already, which is this is a linear state space model. So this state space controller design is based on the linear state space model. State space model is basically x dot is equal to ax plus bu, which are called the state equations, and y is equal to cx plus du, which is called the output map. Here x is of order n, u is of order m, and y is of order p. That means n number of state variables are there, m number of input variables are there, and y is p number of output variables are there. Now, to design a controller for these state space systems, we have to know what we mean by the controllability conditions and the observability conditions. The controllability conditions, the derivations of the controllability conditions and the observability conditions are already done in my last class. I'm just recapitulating the conditions over here. If I take only the state controllability conditions, then I have to form a controllability matrix. The CB is basically called the controllability matrix. So CB will be B, AB, AN-1B, which should be the rank of this matrix, rank of this controllability matrix should be equals to the n. That means the order of the system. Similarly, for output controllability, conditions will be the controllability matrix will be augmented with a C, C and D. So it will be CB, CAB, CN-1B, and D will be there, and the control rank of this matrix will be equal to the number of outputs in the system, that is P, order of the output. So this is basically the state and output controllability. Also, we require the observability conditions. Observability conditions basically means whether we can observe the states based on the output. That means knowing the outputs, knowing the output Y, whether we can find out the state variable X. So that is possible when this observability condition is valid. So the observability conditions is, which is basically called the observability matrix. OB will form the observability matrix OB, which is C transpose augmented with A transpose C transpose, A transpose to the power n-1 C transpose, and this rank of this observability matrix has to be equals to n. Please switch off. Please mute your mic. Okay. So once we have this controllability and the observability conditions, then we now go for a design of the state space controller. The design of a state space controller is not so difficult. So the first step is what we'll do is we first go for a regulatory control problem for a single input variables. So here basically we will design a state feedback controller. That means in this case, we'll feedback the state in the controller to get a controller output. We consider over here is a state space system where is a single output, single input system. That means it's basically a CISO system, single input, single output system. So in this case, since we are considering only the state controllability over here, that means we are considering the regulatory problem where the disturbance to the system changes the states from steady state values to some other values. So our objective is to bring the state variables to their steady state values. Since these are defined in a deviation form, we assume these all X and Y steady state and U as steady state values are 0. Okay, so in this case consider the control signal is a pretty simple control signal, which is u is equal to minus kx. So x will be basically fed back to the system by this equation, by this input equation, which is u is equal to minus kx, where k is a 1 into n matrix, which basically means that since x is real function of x and x is an instantaneous variable, so u is also an instantaneous variable. So from the instantaneous state, I will find out the u over here. So in this case, you can see we are not basically considering the y over here. We are considering only the state variable x, and we are controlling the states over here. If you look at the block diagram of this, you can see over here our state equation is x dot is equal to ax plus bu. So this is ax plus bu, ax plus bu. I will get the x dot. I will do an integration over here. Then I will get the x variable. So this and the output map is y is equal to cx plus du. Y is equal to cx plus du. So I will do y is equal to cx plus du. So this is basically the output map, and this is the state equations. This is the state equations. Now, when we are designing the controller, we basically take the state variables, we multiply with negative gain, so minus k. So since it's a feedback, and then it determines the u variable. So u is equal to minus kx. So from here I will get the u is equal to minus kx. I am putting it over here, and I am getting it y. Okay. So in this controller equations, we are basically considering the feedback of state in the controller scheme. So that's why it is called the state feedback controller. State, and the K matrix is called the state feedback gain matrix. Here we are considering only the regulatory control problem, which means the non-zero output will be returned to the zero reference, zero output because of the state feedback control scheme. So initially we are solving the regulatory problem. Then as we move further, we will solve the regulatory as well as the server problem. So once we have this block diagram, then from this block diagram we can say the system state equation is x dot is equal to ax plus bu. State feedback control equation is u is equal to minus kx. So the closed loop system will become, in place of u, I will put u is equal to minus kx. So the closed loop system will become x dot t will be equals to a minus bk into xt. And the solution of this equation will be xt is equal to e to the power a minus bkt into x0, where x0 is the initial state. Now in this solution, this a minus bk matrix is very important over here. This a minus bk matrix is related to the characteristics equations of a system. And the eigenvalues of this a minus bk are called the regulator poles. If you remember, in a S domain, the roots of the characteristics equation are called the poles of the systems. So here also a minus bk is the closed loop matrix, and the eigenvalues of this closed loop matrix A by bk are called the regulator poles. And in this control system, the main problem is to finding out the values of the k. The k can be found out by placing the regulator poles in the left half of the S plane. Because unless we put these regulator poles in the left of the S-plane, we cannot put xt approaches to 0 as t tending to infinity, because the left half plane is the stable plane, and so if any roots or any poles are lying on the left hand plane, then the system will ultimately goes to the system will be stable and goes to the final steady state value, which is 0 in this case. So therefore, the problem of placing these regulator poles at the desired location is called the pole placement problem. Okay. So in this case, when we are designing the state feedback controller, it is nothing but a finding out the gain state feedback controller gain K using the pole placement technique. Okay. So let us see for pole placement technique what is the necessary and sufficient condition. Now, arbitrary pole placement of a given system is possible if and only if the system is completely state controllable. This we can have a mathematical proof of this. So this is basically the sufficient condition, necessary and sufficient condition. That means the pole placement technique is valid provided the system is completely state controllable. The proof is basically, if you look at this proof is done assuming the system is not fully state controllable. Okay, so let us see what is the proof over here. So if the controllability matrix, let's say P, if we take for that system, controllability matrix as P, then rank of B, A, B, A, N minus B is not equals to N. This is less than N and it is Q. That means if it is less than N, then the system is not state controllable as per our controllability conditions. Okay. So here we assume the rank of the system, rank of the controllability matrix is Q, which is less than N. So now we write the column vectors, this F1, F2, if I decompose this P, then I write the column vector F1, F2, FQ, F1, F2, and FQ, which is the Q linearly independent column vectors, right? So P, when P rank is Q, so that means you have Q independent, linearly independent column vectors for the P. So we'll have, let's say, we will write this one as F1, F2 to FQ. And then we augment with this column vector with VQ plus 1 to Vn to make this P as of rank N. So we add or augment this with the Q minus N minus Q number of column vectors, linearly independent column vectors, which are VQ plus 1, VQ plus 2 to Vn, so that the rank of the P will become N. Okay. So that now we are making this is a fully state controllable. Okay. Now, which means if I want to Q linearly independent column vectors and Vj are the N minus Q additional chosen vector to make rank P is equal to N. Once we do that, now by P using P as a transformation matrix for A and B, so we can write AP is equal to P A hat, or we can write as where A hat is the transformation matrix for A, then we can write this equation as AF1 in terms of linearly independent column vectors. I can write AF1, AF2, AFQ, AVQ plus 1, AVN, which will be equals to that this column P is F1, F2, FQ, VQ plus 1 Vn into A hat. Now, if I use the Cauley-Hamilton's theorem, This is it. Okay, can you see the slides? One of you please respond.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So using the Coley-Hamilton theorem to express AF1, AF2 and AFQ. So I'll express the AF1, AF2 and AFQ using the Coley-Hamilton theorem, which is nothing but the A11, A21, AQ1, which are the coefficients multiplied with the A1, A2, AQ. Please switch off your mic. Similarly, I will write for the all cases for AF2 to AFQ. Okay. Once I express this term using Coley-Hamilton theorem, then I can write this AF1, AF2, AFQ, AVQ plus 1 AVN as these equations. F1, F2, Fq, Vq plus 1 Vn into this term. The coefficients over here A11 to A1Q, A21 to A2Q. So in this way, I can write this equation. So here basically I express these terms AF1 as using Coley-Hamilton theorem, and then I write this term, rewrite this term in a form like this. Once I write this term, then I can say this AF1, this first term AF1, AF2, AFQ, AVQ1, AVN as F1, F2, Fq, Vq plus 1 Vn into A11, A12, 0, A22, where A11, A12 are basically this term. A11, AQ is this term, then A1Q plus 1 to AQN. So these are basically the, now I decompose this matrix into in terms of this terms of Q independent vector, linear independent vectors, and Q plus 1 to n independent linear vectors. So I will have A11, A12, A22, and this term is basically I will get a 0. Okay, so I rewrite these equations in this form. So I have then in that case AP will be written as P into this term. So AP, now in this case AP will be written as this P into this term. Okay. So P inverse AP, which will be equals to A hat, this can be written as A11, A12, 0, A22. So once we do that, then similarly we can write for B. So with B will be basically, if I transform is using this transformation matrix P, so B will be equals to P into B hat, and B will be given by this expression F1, F2, Fq, Bq plus 1 Bn B hat, and in a similar fashion using Coley-Hamilton theorems, if I write these expressions, then I can write B is equal to this term and B hat will be B11, 0. Okay. Now once we do that, now we define K hat. Since we have transformed the A and B using the P transformation matrix, so here also K has to be transformed also. So I transform the K matrix for a K hat, which is K into P. So this will be K1 and K2, and we write Si minus A plus Bk, which will be P in P inverse Si minus A plus BKP in terms of the P transformation matrix, and I will finally have this expression. I will finally have this expression. Okay. Here you can see these eigenvalues of A22. Here you can see the eigenvalues of A22 does not depend on the K matrix over here, does not depend on the K matrix over here. Okay, because here basically it is related to the K1 and K2 over here, K1 and K2 over here, and this one is not multiplied with K1 or K2. So this is basically independent term. This is basically independent term, whereas only this term is basically dependent on K1, because we are controlling the system using the controller gain K. So if we are controlling the system, then all components of the system should be a function of K. Otherwise, we cannot control the system. So in this case, we find some portion of the system, which is basically A1 and B1, is basically a function of K. But whereas A22 is not a function of K. A22 is not a function of K, which means in this system, basically these two are function of K, whereas this one is not function of K, which means if you take that whole system A is not completely controlled by changing the K variable. If it is so, then by changing the K, I cannot place the eigenvalues of A in arbitrary locations. By changing the K, I cannot place the eigenvalues of A in arbitrary locations, because the location over here, the placement of location over here is already fixed, and it will not vary with K. Okay. So this basically tells us that the system has to be state controllable. That means this controllability matrix has to be the rank of n. This controllability matrix has to be the rank of n for us to put the poles at any arbitrary locations. So this is basically the necessary and sufficient condition for pole placement technique to get the controller gain or state feedback controller gain. Now I'll come to the pole placement controller design. So the assumptions here for pole placement control design is the system will be completely state controllable. State variables are measurable and are available for feedback because we are using U is equal to Kx minus Kx. So X is the state variables. So the X has to be available to us. That means X has to be measurable and it should be available for feedback. And the last one is the control input is unconstant, because this is basically a pole placement control problem. So you put the control variable is unconstant. So in this case, since it's a pole placement control problem, so the first objective should be, where do we place the poles? Where do I place the poles? That means I should have a knowledge of the desired location of the poles, desired location of the closed loop poles. So in this case, the knowledge of the desired location of the closed loop pole should be there. So let's say in this case, I know that the closed loop pole should lie at mu1 to mu_n, where n is the order of system or n is the number of open loop poles in the system. So those n number of open loop poles should be placed at locations of mu1 to mu_n for the closed loop systems. That in a classical approach, if in a Laplace domain also we can use a pole placement design, but in Laplace domain, normally what we do is we consider only the dominant poles. So if you have in a system where four poles are there, four open loop poles are there, we only consider the dominant pole and we place the dominant poles, one or two dominant poles, and we normally two dominant poles, and we try to place these two dominant poles in the left hand plane. And that also it is basically based on the output. Here basically it's based on the state variables of the systems. So let's see the closed loop system dynamics. So we know x dot is equal to ax plus bu. The control vector here u should be small u because it's a single input, single output system. And the state feedback is u is equal to minus kx, which will lead to the closed loop system x dot is equal to a minus bkx or ACLX, right? ACLX. So this is in terms of transfer function. This is in terms of transfer function. It will be SI minus ACL. This will be SI minus ACL. In terms of transfer function, XS will be SI minus ACL. Okay. Now the characteristics equation, then if the transfer function is SI minus ACL, then the characteristics equations will be for the transfer function will be determinant of SI minus ACL. The determinant of SI minus ACL. I hope it is clear to you. For this system, the transfer function is SI minus ACL. Okay. So the determinant of this transfer function will be the characteristics equations. So the determinant will be SI determinant of SI minus ACL. And we say the determinant of SI minus ACL, which is the characteristics equation, will be equals to S minus mu1, S minus mu2, S minus mun, which is the characteristics equation for the desired closed loop system. For the desired closed loop system, we are considering the desired closed loop system will be some gain k closed loop gain by S minus mu1, S minus mu2 to S minus mun. So the characteristics equation is S minus mu1, S minus mu2, S minus mun. So we equate these two to find out the values of k. Because we know the values of mu1 to mun, we know the values of a and b. So equating these two, I can get the values of k. So this is basically the methodology for pole placement control design, through which we can get the state feedback controller gain. So, but problem over here is in a single input, single output system, in a single input, single output system, you can have a number of states involved. You can have a number of states involved. It basically depends on the order of the systems. So if number of states are more, then finding out the k just by equating is not a trivial problem. It's not a trivial problem. Normally what we do is for a low order system, for n less than equals to 3, then what we do is we have these design steps. The first design step is will be always we have to check the controllability condition. If the system is not state controllable, fully state controllable, then we cannot apply this method. Then we define the k, which will be k1, k2, and k3. Then substitute the gain in the desired characteristic polynomial equation Si minus A plus Bk is equal to S minus mu1, S minus mun, where we know mu1, the values of mu1 to mun, and then I solve for k1, k2, k3 by equating the like powers of both sides. This methodology is pretty simple and can be done when for a low order system where n is less than 3, less than equals to 3. But when the n is higher order, greater than 3 or more, then this finding this is not so easy. Finding this is not so easy because you have to find out the determinant and all these things. So this method will become very, very cumbersome. So in that case, when for higher order systems, we use okay. Before that, let me just illustrate it further, which I have told you earlier. X dot is equal to ax plus u is equal to minus kx over here. So a over here in a controllable canonical form. A over here is in the controllable canonical form. And x dot will be a minus bk into k into x will be ACL x. Now ACL will become this expression. ACL will become this expression. Okay. Now, if I mu1, mu2, mu_n are the desired poles, then the desired characteristics polynomial will be given by these expressions. Now, this one, S1 alpha 1, Sn minus 1 alpha 2, Sn minus 2 alpha n, can be written in a controllable canonical form. Can be written in a controllable canonical form. Okay, that we have already seen. We know already. So if I write this one in the controllable canonical form, then I will get a state space form of this one. So I equate this with this equation. So this ACL and this ACL as equated. Now if we equate this, then this alpha n minus 1 and all these values are same as minus a minus n k1, a minus n minus k2 and so on. So then in that case, I will get this. I'll get these values. Okay. Then in that case, I will get these values. So this is basically the method where the order of the system is more than 3. Where the order of the system is more than 3. The first thing is if the order of the system is more than 3, the first step is I have to write this equation in terms of the controllable canonical form. The first step is I have to write this equation in terms of the controllable canonical form. Right? Once I write this in a controllable canonical form, then I write from the ACL matrix, which will be A minus BK. So I will also get the ACL matrix in terms of the coefficients AN and the controller gain K1, K2, and Ka. Okay. Then from the desired location of the poles, I know the characteristics polynomial. So using these equations, I again form a controllable canonical form, which will be in terms of alpha 1, alpha 2, and alpha n. So I will get the closed loop controllable canonical form for the desired closed loop systems. And then I compare the terms an plus k1 is equal to alpha n, which will give me k1 is equal to alpha n minus an. Similarly, k2 will be alpha n minus 1 minus a minus 1. Kn will be alpha 1 minus a1. So in vector matrix form, it will be k is equal to alpha minus a. K is equal to alpha minus a. Okay. But here, when I am writing k is equal to alpha minus n, then k1 will be alpha n minus an. This will be right from the high to low, and this will be low to high. Okay, so this is the method which basically gives you the values of K1, K2, and Kn for a higher order systems. This method is called Bas-Gura method. This method is called the Bas-Gura method, B-A-S-S-G-U-R-A. This method is called the Bas-Gura method. Here in this method, what we have done is we have the first condition is the system has to be written. That means x dot is equal to ax plus bu has to be written in a controllable canonical form. In a controllable canonical form. Unless we write this as a controllable canonical form, we cannot find out the values of k1, k2, kn in this method. So if this system of equation is not written in a controllable canonical form, then what we will do? So what if the system is not given in the first componion form or the controllable canonical form? Then in that case, we define a transformation matrix T so that x is equal to T x hat and x hat that is equal to T inverse x dot. So x and then we do the algebraic manipulations to get x. We write the system of equation in terms of x hat. So we will have x hat dot T inverse AT x hat plus T inverse B BU. Now our objective is to design T such that T inverse AT will be in the first companion form. T inverse AT will be the first companion form. So what we'll do is select T is equal to MW, where M is the controllability matrix, where M is equal to B, AB, AN minus 1, B, which is a controllability matrix. So we select T is equal to MW, where M is equal to controllability matrix, and W will be given by this expression. W will be AN minus 1, AN minus 2, A1, 1, AN minus 2 to 0. Finally, A1, 1, 0, and the first term will be 1. So it will be written AN minus 1, A2 to 1. Here AN minus 1, A2 to 1. So accordingly, we goes on filling up these components of this W matrix. Okay, so from AN minus 1 to 1, AN minus 1 to 1. Similarly, AN minus 2. This way it will continue. Now we design a controller for the transform system using this technique for the first companion form. So U will be minus K hat X hat. Okay. So now the first companion form equation is X hat is equal to this equation. X hat is equal to this equation, and we find out U. We say U is equal to K hat X hat, which will be K hat T inverse into X. Okay, X hat is equal to T inverse X, so we'll put K hat T inverse into X, which will be minus Kx. So in a sense, if you write the method for the Bas-Gura approach, we write the method of the Bas-Gura approach. We check the controllability conditions. We form a characteristics polynomial for A, Si minus A, Sn, A1 S to the power n minus 1 plus A2 S minus 2 plus An minus 1 S plus An. We find a transformational matrix T is equal to MW, and we write the desired characteristics polynomial. S minus mu1 to S minus mu1 is equal to Sn plus alpha 1 S minus 1, alpha 2 S minus 2 plus alpha n, and we determine the alpha I. And then we calculate the K, alpha n minus An, alpha n minus 1, An minus 1, alpha 1 minus A1 into T inverse. So this is basically the generalized methodology for finding out the state feedback controller gain using the Basgura approach. If the system is in a controllable canonical form, then this T will become identity matrix. Otherwise, we have to find out that T using this equation M into W. Okay. So the second question comes here. How do you know that if I use T is equal to MW, then this will become controllable canonical form? Okay. The derivation of the proof of this is basically I am not discussing over here the proof of this. The proof of this you will find in the book of the Modern Control Engineering by Ogata. So if you go through the book of the Modern Control Engineering by Ogata, there you will get the proof of this, that if you put T is equal to MW, then T inverse AT and T inverse V will put the X dot is equal to AX plus BU to a controllable canonical form. So this T will be the transformation matrix which will convert to the controllable canonical form from any other form. Okay. So that proof is given in the book of the Ogata. Name of the book is Modern Control Engineering. Okay. The third method, which is called the Ackermann's formula. The third method is called the Ackermann's formula. In this case, we define ACL is equal to A minus BK, and the characteristics equation is SI minus ABK is S minus mu1 to S minus mu1. So SI minus A or ACL will be Sn alpha equals to 0. Okay. So this is basically the basic pole placement controller designing equations. Now, to find out the K, we have either we equate these two terms or we use the Basgura method, or we can use the Ackermann's formula, considering that Cayley-Hamilton's theorem states that every matrix A satisfies its own characteristics equations. So we can write phi A hat is at these equations, A hat n alpha 1 A n minus 1, because this is the characteristics equations. So I write in this form. Okay. Now for case n is equal to 3, to find out the Ackermann's formula, we consider n is equal to 3, and this can be then generalized. So for n is equal to 3, we can say I is equal to I, A hat is equal to A minus BK, A hat square will be A minus BK square. Here basically we have this term, with A hat square, and so on. So I will find out A hat. So for n is equal to 3, it will be alpha 3, alpha 2, and alpha 1 will be here. So it will be A hat A minus BK, A hat square, A minus BK square. So this will be A square minus ABK minus BK A hat cube, which will be A minus BK cube, which can be written as in this form A cube A square into B into K minus ABK A hat minus BK A hat square. Okay. So once we write this one, so for n is equal to 3, I put the equations over here. For n is equal to 3, we put the equation alpha 3i plus alpha 2 A hat plus alpha 1 A hat square plus A cube. From this equation, because this equals to 0, so from these equations I write this. Okay, and I put the A hat value over here, alpha 3i, alpha 2 A minus BK, alpha 1 A square minus ABK minus BK A hat, and then A cube will be A cube minus A square BK minus ABK A hat minus bka hat square. Okay, and then again I further simplify it in this form. Now, for using Coley-Hamilton theorem for A hat, this should be equals to 0. Okay. This will be equals to 0. Also for A matrix, we have alpha. We can use these equations, but this is not a characteristic equation, so this will be not equals to 0. So the phi A will not equals to 0 because the characteristic equation is dependent on A hat, not on A. Okay, so this will be not equals to 0. So here you can see this term, this equation, I can say as a phi A. This equation I can say as a phi A. So I can write phi this equation, which is equals to 0, phi A hat equals to 0, which I can write as phi A minus this term. Phi A minus this term, and then I can write phi A equals to these equations, which in terms of vector matrix form will be these equations. VAB in compact form I can write in these equations. Okay. Here, this one is the controllability matrix. And since the system is the state controllability, controllable, so this controllability matrix, inverse of this matrix, will exist. So inverse of phi A will give me these equations. Inverse of phi A will give me these equations. Now, if I multiply this term, by 0, 0, 1, if I multiply this term with 0, 0, 1, so if I multiply this term with 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1 B phi A, we multiply it with 0, 0, 1, then I will get k value. Okay. So from here, I pre-multiply both sides of the equation with 0, 0, 1. So I will get the expressions for the k. This is basically called the Ackermann's formula. So k will be given equals to 0, 0, 1 multiplied by the inverse of the controllability matrix B AB square B, and in multiplied by phi A. Phi A will be given by a to the power n alpha 1 a to the power n minus 1 to alpha n A alpha n I, where alpha 1 to alpha n are the coefficients of the desired characteristics polynomial. Alpha 1 to alpha n, the coefficients of the desired characteristics polynomial. So this is basically called the Ackermann's formula. Okay, so in this case, what we find that we can have three methods to find out the state feedback controller gain. If the order of the system is lower order system, we directly equate and solve the equations to find out the k. If the order of the system is higher, then we can use two methods. One is the Bhaskara approach or the Ackermann's formula. Okay. The next thing is how to choose the closed loop poles. So here in this case, you have seen that we have to specify this mu1 to mu_n. We have to specify the mu1 to mu_n. So how to choose these closed loop poles? The guidelines is do not choose the closed loop poles far away from the open loop poles. Otherwise, it will demand high control effect. This is one thing. Second is do not choose the closed loop poles very negative. Otherwise, the system will be fast reacting. Okay, so which means the system will be fast reacting means your input amplitude will be very high. Input amplitude will be very high, which is not desirable. Which basically in frequency domain it leads to the large bandwidth, and if you have a noise in the system, that will get amplified also. Okay, so I will stop here. Basically, in the next class, I will take one example. I will solve the problem using this state feedback controller using MATLAB, and we'll show how to do that. And here, basically, the design is based on the regulatory system. That means we have not considered the servo problem. That's why the closed loop system, if we have seen the closed loop system over here, which is given as A minus BK. The closed loop system we have given has a closed loop system we have taken as A minus BK. Closed loop system we have taken as A minus BK because we do not have the regulatory. We have considered only the regulatory system. The servo problem is not there. If the servo problem is there, then there has to be a input for the set point. There has to be input for the set point. So in the next class, I will take one example to show you how to implement this in a MATLAB, how to design the controller, and also how to tackle the servo situation. Okay. So I will end the class over here. If you have any questions, I can answer.
Sir, why is the control effort high if the loops are far for closed loop system?
For closed loop system, if the poles are put in the left hand side,
the poles.
Far away from the origin on the left hand side, right? Which means if you put far away in the origin, that means what will happen? The system will immediately goes to the steady state.
Yes, sir.
As we move further away from the origin, the system response will be becoming faster and faster. Okay. Now, if the system response becoming faster and faster means you require high controller gain to do that. Because the controller gain in essence, we have seen in a PI controller or PID controller, as the controller gain is basically related to the closed loop systems response. As we increase the controller gain, the closed loop system is becoming faster. But at the same time, if I increase the controller gain, which means the output, the manipulated input also will be high. Right? The change in manipulated input will be high, which is not desirable. Let's say if you are basically controlling a 3-tank system where you have a control valve. So initially you have a control valve opening as let's say at 0.4 or something, 40% opening. Now if there is a disturbance, some large disturbance, and if your control valve opening goes to 1.5, you cannot have that. You have only one. No? You cannot fully open valve is one. But if your controller equations gives you the opening will be 1.5, that has got no meaning. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So that's why you have to place your pole in the design location of the pole should be such that it should take care of the constant of your input variable. Because your input variable over here can vary from 0 to 1. It cannot go beyond 1. So the desired location of the closed loop pole should be such that that should take care of this constraint. Is it clear to you? Okay, then any other questions?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, then. So I'm ending the meeting over here.